Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. And I gotta say ladies because if you're my average viewer, you are 16.6% female. Anyway, if you've been watching the Focus series on head replacement, you'll notice that I didn't actually start it in part 4. Well, like I said, the car didn't run when I got it, so it was kind of hard to diagnose why. At first I thought it was the cylinder head had dropped a valve seat, but that's not what happened. Actually, fuel pump was bad, but I'm glad that I didn't just replace the fuel pump and leave the head, because those heads, those motors are known to drop valve seats, and I was right at in that normal range of when it happens. And I don't, I could have replaced that fuel pump, and it would have dropped the valve seat when I was test driving it. So I'm pretty happy I replaced that. I'm not too worried about it at all. I'm actually quite glad that it worked out that way. But anyway, this video is going to be about how to replace the fuel pump, because when I turn the key with the fuel line off, there's no fuel pressure. There's various ways to check for fuel pressure. The correct way is to get a gauge, but basically if you disconnect the fuel line and turn the key to the on position and you don't have fuel spraying out, then your fuel pump is bad. Alright, so if you're watching this video and you haven't watched the series on replacing the cylinder head, you can go ahead and watch that, but this video itself is about the fuel pump, so just stay tuned and you'll see how it's done. Here at the junkyard, grabbing me a new fuel pump out of this other Focus. So, peel up the back seat, peel up the carpet, and let's see what we can do.
Okay, well, I had a whole big recording there, and then my camera fell down, and I didn't save any of it. So, take out the seats, peel up the carpet, and then you can just cut this piece of panel here right out. Cut a little notch for the wire to slip through, then you can get to the fuel pump. Easy. Way easier than crawling under there and dropping the tank. There we go. Sweet. Now, this whole unit should come out somehow. Look at that, there's my fuel pump. Sweet. And some old gas if you're into that. Now, I just hope there's nobody smoking around here. That could be dangerous. Yeah, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cover this up because I don't want anything to happen. So I'm just going to put this floor mat I found off the ground to cover it. Now, while I'm here, it's a couple extra bucks. I'm just going to grab this fuel pump relay thing, because I don't know if that's the problem. Alright, so here we are back in my car. Now, before I go ahead and cut the hole in the floor, I'm going to swap out these modules and see if it makes any difference. It's a possibility. I don't know if it's as likely based on the symptoms that I'm having. Let's see. Unplug the harness and plug the new one in. There's no point in bolting it all down if all I'm doing is testing it. If there's no change, then it means that they're both good. Well, I guess it could mean that they're both bad, but chances are that this one's good. The car I got this off of was rear-ended, so alright, let's try this out. Okay, put the key in the ignition. No new. Nope. No noise coming from the fuel pump area, so I guess I gotta cut it. I'm just gonna unbolt this whole rear seat. I don't feel like trying to work around it. Alright, to get these little plastic pieces off of here, I like to use a giant tire spoon. You can use your hands, but I find that the plastic has kind of a sharp edge. And you could use a flat screwdriver too, I suppose. This just it spreads it out more. I've looked at the pictures I've taken of how the fuel pump fit into the donor car, and I've compared it to this, and I've marked out my measurements so that I can use this to go over the this is larger than the hole that I'm going to cut, and this will allow me to access the fuel pump and not have to drop the tank, and I'll have a door to go over the hole when I'm done. Okay, well, here we are. Be very careful not to cut too far through the metal, because you'll cut into these wires here, which didn't happen, so that's nice. This little breather line here looks like I cut into that, so I'll have to repair that. That's not a big deal. Everything else looks good. Alright, so then we just unplug this plug, slide that out of the way. Then to disconnect this fuel line, you push this red ring before I open this up, I'm going to vacuum up. There's a lot of dust and dirt and salt and sand around here. Now that's all clean, we can keep hammering on these notches. Oh, it's slightly different. Okay, well hopefully it doesn't cause a problem. Anyway, pull this out. Alright, well, the new fuel pump is different from the old one. This one's got a springy thing and this one doesn't. And it's okay, I can swap the internal parts over to make them work. I want to test the new one though. Let's make sure it actually works. So I got a 12-volt power supply here. And so, here's what we're going to do. We're going to plug this into the old one. You can see the wires that go to the little lever here. Those are for the gauge to tell you where the fuel level is. And the pump is this little electric motor over here. So that's got the pink and black wires. And the pink and the black wires are the outer two wires on the connection here. So I can just hook these jumper leads up to here. And nothing happens when I turn on my power supply. I don't know, maybe I got it backwards, so we can switch them around. See if that does anything different. No, we're not getting anything. So let's do the same thing on this one, this new one that I got. And let's see, it's got the same color wires, black and pink, and they are also the outer two connectors, which is good. It means that the wiring connections are all the same between these two fuel pumps. And when I hook it up, oh yeah, you can hear it running. Listen to it. Yeah, but it's not really pumping anything, so it's probably hooked up wrong. There is a little bit of fuel left in this little bucket at the bottom here, so it might spray out when I turn this on. Let's see here. Oh yeah, perfect. See that? Beautiful. So now we know we got a good fuel pump here. So we need to swap this little motor over to the other one. Alright, so I'm going to remove, what are they? These screws right here that hold this little thing on. I don't know what it's called, to be honest. Alright, so there's probably an O-ring or something here. Yeah, I'm going to disconnect this electrical connection. Then we can pop this off and just set it over to the side. And I think we can pull this straight out. No, we can't. Okay, so now we get to remove the screws around the outside here as well. Okay, now we can lift this thing up, except for the wires. Okay, and now we can lift out the fuel pump. Alright, so I'm just going to set that back down in there. We're going to do the same thing to the other one, and then I'll show you what to do. Alright, so now they're both apart. Here's the old one that's not working. Alright, so I'm just going to try to drain out some fuel from it so I don't make a mess. And here's the new one that's good. Do the same thing, try to drain it out. And now I'm just going to drop it into here. Install this cover. And tighten all the screws back up. And then let's plug in the fuel pump. Come on. Oh, well, that's lovely. The new and the old pump have different connections on them. Why would they do this to me? Why would you do this to me, Ford? There's the female connection, and here's the male connection that's supposed to go into it, right here. And you can see the notch is on the wrong side. Why? About a minute and a half later, with a Dremel, just ground that other tab off, so now there's no tabs at all. So, I think it'll work. Beautiful. And yeah, I looked, the motors both have the positive on the left, so should work. Got it hooked up. Yep, it works. Yep. Alrighty, sweet. Let's plug it onto the, let's hook it up to the car. Now we can install our rebuilt, parts swapped, parts grinded fuel pump. Let's drop her into position here. Beautiful. Make sure that this O-ring is in good condition. Slip it on there, and slip on this ring, retaining ring. Plug in the fuel line. Plug in this harness. Okay, well, let's slide the front seat back and see if we hear anything when we turn the key. So, put the key in the ignition. See if we hear anything. Yep, there it goes. It works now. Now that we got fuel sprayage, making a mess over here, we can reconnect the fuel line to the fuel rail. Sweet. Okay, well, let's see. I just finished the fuel pump. I haven't really finished it, to be honest, because there's still a mess in the back that I gotta finish up. But I want to see if it works. I finished up the cylinder head swap yesterday. So, let's see what this thing can do. Okay, I got some primerless paint here. I'm just going to paint this this bare metal here. I cleaned it all up to get the metal little shavings off the edges, and so now I'm just going to paint this real fast so that I don't get any rust, hopefully. Alright, so now we're just going to set this into place. We got it cut to fit here. I'll have to bend these little pieces down. I also got some sealant. Now we just place it into position, and I can start screwing it down with some self-tapping screws. Alright, once that's done, you can pop the carpet back into position. the seat can go in now. Alright. Oh man, that was a bad idea. The sun's right in my eye. Alright, well I hope this video has been helpful. This particular situation can be quite a problem if you have to drop the tank, and I just feel like this was easier. Plus, if you ever, for whatever reason, need to get into the trunk again, you know, I mean, I didn't buy a new fuel pump. I bought a used one out of a junkyard, so don't know how long it'll last. Hopefully it lasts a while. But if you ever need to do it again for whatever reason, this makes it a lot easier. It might actually be easier. I didn't drop the tank, you know. There might have been rusty bolts or something like that, and this might have saved me a lot of time. So that's how I did it. I hope that it's helpful to you if you decide to do the same thing. And it really wasn't that difficult. Now I have a working car, which is always nice. And while I was at the junkyard, I grabbed some floor mats and center console and little bits and pieces that this car was missing. So that's always a benefit to going to the junkyard. You get new things. Thanks for watching.